What do you remember? Probably not much, given how current methods of content consumption have fried our collective attention span. Which reminds me, I need to ensure watch time.
We do realize there's a difference between loving America.
You see, memories are the fabric of who we are as human beings. This isn't working. Memories are the fabric of who we are as people. They shape our character and personality. They comfort us and help push us forward in life. Unless it's the memory of Silk Song still being delayed, which doesn't really push you forward so much as it threatens to push you out a window. I'm gonna do it, man! I'm really gonna do it! Memories make us who we are. But what if, one day, you didn't have them? How would you live if you weren't you anymore? That's the question that Golden Time asks. Golden Time is an anime adaptation of a light novel, and it aired between 2013 and 2014. It centers around Banri, a boy attending college after losing his memories in an accident. The series navigates Banri's relationships, personal and romantic, with some comic relief, making it a dramatic comedy, or a dramedy.
Not to be confused with the dromedary. Camel with one hump.
I watched Golden Time when it was originally airing, and I remember it having a big emotional impact on me. I kept on wondering, damn, why is this college romance getting me so worked up? 10 years later, I find out it's because the person that wrote this also wrote Toradora and is a big fan of Nana, which upon rewatch is glaringly obvious, but we'll get to that later. I remember this series being held in high regard back in the day, so I was surprised to return to see opinions ranging from lukewarm and just above average to people outright flaming the ending and plot as a whole. So I played the classic game on this channel, yes, so classic that we've only done it in 2 videos counting this one. The classic game on this channel, Popular Opinion. The game where I set a 2-minute timer and scroll through the My Anime List reviews and take a tally of all the people who would recommend it, have mixed feelings about it, and wouldn't recommend it. And that was interesting for this one, because here are our results. Would not recommend, 4. But mixed feelings and would recommend came in a tie at 11 votes each. That was more than enough motivation for me. I had to go back and see if this show still held up, or if I was just remembering it through rose-tinted glasses. Here's what I found. The show wastes no time setting its scene and tone. We're introduced to Banri and the college, as well as the other protagonist, Koko Kaga. We're also given our supporting cast of Linda, Chinami, 2D, whose real name is Takia, and Mitsuo. Out of the entire sidecast, Mitsuo plays the biggest role, as he grew up with Koko, who became obsessed with him and views him trying to go to a separate college as a betrayal. We can see the depths of Koko's obsession right off the bat. Her first on-screen appearance is making Mitsuo, the most confident character that we've seen yet, completely submit. The rest of the supporting cast is trickled in. Chinami is in one of Mitsuo and Banri's classes, and she's like, "Oh, your friend is hot!" And Banri's like, "Damn, I guess he is." And I'm like, "Okay, bisexual icons." Linda is part of the festival club, and she saves Banri from the dancers in the tea club. Yeah, cause every guy wants to get away from hot half-naked women.
Drink this tasty brew! Drink, 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 pretty boy!
You know, you're a nice person.
That's not really true.
Huh, that seems like ominous foreshadowing. Anyways, 2D gets introduced at a party for the film club that Chinami is a part of. Him and Banri get kidnapped by the tea club girls that are partying next door. Aw, boo-hoo, Banri has to get bossed around by a bunch of beautiful drunk women, and the show wants me to feel bad for him? Oh, that girl's just eating pussy. 2D gets his nickname because he likes 2D and fictional women better than real ones.
This opinion is what the young people on the internet call based out of space.
He actually plays a part in the first little arc of the show. You see, Koko, after stalking down Mitsuo and using her father's money and connections to get into the university she has no personal ties to other than the guy who wants nothing to do with her, yes, that Koko is surprisingly lonely. Her, Banri, and 2D get approached by a club that promises friends and social opportunities and oh no. White vans, tracksuits, house with no cell service, Hellenistic statues. I know what this is. They're in the goddamn Epsilon program. This is a cult!
I've lain with a multitude of women.
I have a lot to say about this because on the one hand, this is a real thing that happens. College kids get taken advantage of by MLMs, pyramid, and Ponzi schemes every day. But the events of this literal hostage situation are so inconsequential because they make their escape and they wander through the woods until Coco and Bonri get Deus Ex Machina'd by Linda and the Festival Club, who happen to be practicing nearby. And then nothing after that. They get home and the story moves on. I'm so for real. Later in the series, Coco steals a bike, and there's more police presence for that than there is for any of this. But what this portion of the show does give us is some real development from Bonri and Coco. Coco, who up until now had been cold and headstrong, shows Bonri a more carefree and loving part of herself. She jokes and laughs and shows concern for someone who isn't herself or Mitsuo. And Bonri gets vulnerable about his amnesia, talking about how and where it happened, and talking about how it affects him in this transformative period of his life. Amnesia is a fascinating and horrifying concept, and this show is unique for portraying it this way, making someone with a blank mental slate exist in a space where everyone is pretty much fully formed and becoming an adult. It makes opportunities for some messy situations, and this show is good at doing that. And when it does, it makes them hit real close to home. Like the scene where Coco tries to prove to Mitsuo that they're meant to be in love. It's heartbreaking to see Coco poring over photos and binders, grasping at threads. Throughout the photos, you can even see as Mitsuo begins to put distance between them. There's so much important symbolism here of what it is to want to love, to force love, and the way we destroy ourselves for it. It makes us throw away years of our lives. It makes us lash out in jealousy, like Coco does to Chinami when she finds out that Mitsuo has a crush on her. Love hurts. It's devastating to give ourselves to someone who doesn't want us the same, but making one person your sole motivation and entire life is just neglecting yourself. And if you spend your time trying to resuscitate something that has long since died, you're hurting yourself and the person you love. You're holding on because your life plan can't imagine their absence, just like Coco can't imagine being without Mitsuo.
I've never gone to a school without him. I can't see myself being alone, not even a little. I just feel that maybe I've become invisible.
And Mitsuo is a good guy because he recognizes how misguided Coco is. He cares about her and doesn't want to hurt her or date her just for the hell of it. Mitsuo knows you can't force love. Even if Coco and him did date, you can't make yourself fall in love out of a sense of obligation. It needs to be organic. This is the part of the show where Coco gives up on Mitsuo and now enters a major period of change for her character. And does anyone else smell 7-Star cigarettes?
I'm performing in that concert later tonight at 9. If you're gonna die anyway, at least let it be to music.
Who are you?
My name's Nana.
Who? Nana?
Come and die with me.
Yeah, so there was one other supporting character that I was intentionally avoiding talking about. This is Nana. No last name, and literally romanized the same way that the Nana manga and anime are. She's not directly stated to be Nana Osaki, but I mean, come on. Punk fashion, in a band, lots of jewelry, it's Nana. It's Nana. Nana invites Coco to her club to let loose, and after a self-destructive rampage, she crashes at Bonri's place, and Bonri is like, well, I'm a man witnessing a woman at the lowest point in her life. There's only one thing to do. Hey, wanna fuck? And people said this show wasn't realistic. Bonri confesses that he likes Coco, which makes things awkward to say the least, so Bonri goes back to his hometown of Shizuoka to chill and recenter himself. But that's when he finds pictures of him and Linda as high schoolers, and it triggers his amnesia trauma and sends him spiraling all the way to the bridge where he had his accident. And it's all such a great sequence, which is frustrating to me because sometimes this show will have this clunky, awkward dialogue that's not localized at all and fumbles the comedy, and then it'll casually drop a line like this.
Can I come over to your place?
I'm not there.
Huh?
I'm not there.
And yes, my complaints are dub specific because I love making problems for myself. At this point, we finally start seeing some tangible change, about 7 or 8 episodes in. Banri starts to regain his memories in bits and pieces. He remembers going to school with Linda and being in love with her. He confronts Linda about it, who tells him she feels guilty because Banri was there waiting for her on the night of his accident. On top of it all, then Banri and Coco start dating and Mitsuo is blonde? Adolescence is messy, and this anime really shows it. Adult relationships, romantic and non, are constantly evolving. That's why it's on us to navigate them in a way that's beneficial for everyone involved. Mitsuo is chill about Banri and Coco dating. Linda and Banri make amends with the help of Nana, who also turns out to be Banri's neighbor. Mitsuo and Chinami work through Mitsuo having feelings for her, and they become friends. Chinami and Coco resolve their issues, and Chinami learns to stand up for herself a little bit. I'm oversimplifying all these a little, like I skipped over the entire part where Banri and Mitsuo act gay, but the point is, healthy conflict resolution is an important part of ensuring your own quality of life and that of others when living as an adult. For example, Coco envies Chinami because she has everything that Coco wants: friends, Mitsuo, and a club to belong to. But by working these things out, she gains a new friend and a new family in the festival club that she joins with Banri. Even 2D grows and wants to be more social and proposes a pact where if one person goes out, they all have to. We even get this really tender moment on the balcony with Banri and Linda.
Do you ever want to go back where the old me used to be? I want to go back to that place!
Let's take a minute to really dissect Banri and Linda's past. You need to understand that past Banri was a totally different person. He would cry a lot and Linda would have to come to his rescue. But Banri was there for Linda, like when her brother was being cheated on and he helped Linda track down the fiancé and catch her in the act. These flashbacks have some really nice animation. There are a lot of subtle emotional cues like Linda's fear when leaving the confrontation with the fiancé, or the horror of hurting someone you care about that's all over Linda's face when Banri hears an out-of-context conversation of hers. Banri and Linda had a very deep connection prior to Banri's amnesia. At one point, he promised to always find her.
When the rain falls, and when the wind blows, when the flowers scatter, and when shadows loom, in every sign I'll search for your voice, and I will find it. I promise, I will find you.
Linda even visited Banri in secret in the hospital and encouraged him to pursue education in Tokyo, where she is. Linda's cagey about revealing a lot of this though because she's concerned for the fragility of Banri's psyche. And considering his outburst on the balcony, Linda's concern is warranted. Thankfully, Banri's consciousness blanks this incident out, and Linda happily lies to corroborate it. Following this, we enter the summertime arc of the show. Banri's remembering more and more, but stuffs it down by pouring himself into Coco, planning a beach trip with her where they'll have their first time. Coco originally wanted it to be in Paris, but I've talked about what happens to Japanese people in Paris enough times on this channel. Banri wants to make some spending cash for the trip and asks the festival club upperclassmen for help, but they just roast him for being broke. No car, no job, no money, and pretty soon, no bitch. Damn, no motion, but your mouth is still running. The thing is, Coco doesn't care about that because she just wants all of her time to be with Banri. A job would just take him away from her. Wow, so you would really be okay just paying for the whole trip? I want dick so bad! Despite this, Banri wants to work and wouldn't mind a little time away from Coco. Nana gets him a job bussing drinks at a party that she's helping at, provided Banri brings Mitsuo. Banri gives Coco a lie to cover and goes to the gig with Mitsuo, where Linda happens to be working too. It's a masquerade party, which is interesting symbolism in a series about identity and self. It makes you think about the masks and costumes we wear as we try to find out who we are. The costumes of the night hold meaning for each character. Mitsuo likes to cover up and blend, so he's forced into skimpy clothes and put in the spotlight. Banri's always hiding and running, so his costume portrays that by inverting all of his outward traits. Linda is usually reserved, but her costume is bold and sexy. Banri finds the night gives everyone a chance to step outside of who they are and a chance to stare at Linda's tits. Banri starts to get real loose with it, even posing for photos with Linda. You know, sometimes in the course of watching this show, I'm like, damn, there's a lot of gay stuff in here. That's awesome. And then I remember how much the author loves Nana, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm surprised it's not more gay. Coco ends up finding them, and I knew this series was made by a woman because only a woman could juxtapose this kind of sensuality to this clean-ass drink throw. Following this, things start spiraling for Bonri. Coco forgives Bonri, but makes him confess about Linda and then has him cut her off. The festival dance goes okay, even though Coco is scared shitless, but the real horror is poorly rendered 3D Bonri. From there, Bonri's summer is a wreck. No plans, Mitsuo's busy, and Coco's planning on going on a family trip soon. Eventually, Bonri and 2D get fed up with it, and they try to track down Mitsuo, enlisting the help of Chinami and Coco. They eventually spot him on a date with Linda. This would be fine if Bonri wasn't falling back in love with Linda and Chinami wasn't silently crushing on Mitsuo. To remedy this, they replan the beach day as a group thing and invite Mitsuo. They do some preparation, shout out to the whale tail on Coco. Chinami says it's not hot, Chinami's a fucking liar. I knew she was a fake bisexual. Beach day comes around. This actually turns out to be a nice show of character growth too. Coco grills Mitsuo about Linda, not to sabotage, but because she cares about Chinami and knows she has feelings for him. She can see how Chinami is being hurt. And when it won't stop raining, Bonri gets everyone out of their shells and plays in the rain. It's funny how past Bonri was so shy, but new Bonri is determined and optimistic. He makes the best of bad situations. He even did it in the first episode. When Coco hit Mitsuo with the flowers, Bonri helped him out by acting like him and Mitsuo were there to just hand out the flowers, disarming the awkwardness of the aftermath. Everything ends up going great until Coco falls asleep at the wheel on the way home. The cops hand Coco over to her father, who takes her and cancels the family trip as punishment. Bonri turns into a real sad sack after this, but thankfully, this show has Nana to kick some sense into him. Nana makes this great comment about Bonri's gloom leaking through the walls, and I think that's a great statement on how we can end up affecting other people with our inaction. Bonri gets Coco's address from Mitsuo since they grew up together, and after talking to Coco's dad and meeting the family cat, Bonri gets to talk to Coco. This is genuinely the best emotional clash in the show because both sides have strong, valid arguments, and at this point, they haven't seen each other in a week, so there's so much added tension, and it's just a fantastic scene, so I won't skip out on any detail here. So Coco's father shows that Coco has become a recluse. Coco's humiliated and guilty seeing the consequences of her recklessness affect the people around her. Coco has been in a rush to grow up and be her own person outside of her failed relationship with Mitsuo, but she's just putting on the facade of being an adult. Bonri puts forward the idea that disappearing isn't taking responsibility either. You're just leaving the people you care about behind. Coco retorts that Bonri is one to talk, as he abandoned his life. Bonri brings up that Coco encouraged him not to process it. She was the one that made him cut off Linda. Coco admits to the jealousy, but points out that Bonri had no intention to process his past to begin with. Bonri had already abandoned his former life when he came to Tokyo, and he cut Linda out of his life instead of trying to strike a balance. And Coco is scared of being the next thing that Bonri just throws away.
You did everything you're telling me not to! And next you're going to cut me out of your life!
Coco talks about a dream she has where she's driving Bonri on the freeway until she sees an exit sign. When she stops at it, Bonri takes the car and leaves her behind. This is deserved because it's an exit sign. You're not supposed to stop there. You stop at a stop sign, you stupid bitch. This is not the first show to use cars and freeways as a metaphor for relationships. How I Met Your Mother did this too.
Relationships are like a freeway. Freeways have exits, so do relationships. The first exit, my personal favorite, is 6 hours in. The next exits are 4 days, 3 weeks, 7 months. That's when you guys are gonna break up. Mark your calendars. Hey! Then a year and a half, 18 years, and the last exit, death.
The metaphor holds because a relationship really is a ride that you take together. You can get off, but it's not always easy, and at any point, one wrong move can send you both into a fiery wreck. Coco's father interrupts their moment because he's such a man-child that he wants Bonri to cook ramen for him.
Are you out of your freaking mind?
Yeah, Coco's father is batshit insane, but at the end of the day, he does kind of care about Coco. But he also fucking hit her, so I don't know, I don't think he should be glorified for just doing the bare minimum. Bonri comes to help the festival club set up for a party. The club thinks that Bonri and Coco broke up because no one could get a hold of either, but Bonri explains that Coco and him didn't break up, and this guy's "what the hell" in the background is just perfect. I'm gonna play it for you.
We didn't break up!
What?
What the hell?
Shout out to this guy. You get the official Hotbox Best Extra of 2025 award. I know it's early, but I'm calling it. I promise it was a nice award. but I kinda threw up on it on account of all the vodka I've been drinking to make it through this fucking show. Sorry if it's a little purple when you get it. I've been on a juice cleanse, so the only thing in my stomach was grape juice and vodka. All right, Linda shows up and invites Bonri to a class reunion. In a surprising twist, Coco encourages Bonri to go. She's growing past her jealousy and fear so that she can love Bonri better. That's healthier than she ever was when she was obsessing over Mitsuo. And that's what true love is, in my opinion. It's loving everything about a person, even the things you might not normally like, and doing it without a second thought. True love is unflinching. This part kicks off what I generally describe as the endgame of the show. It starts with Mitsuo and Linda fighting. You see, Linda and Bonri never told Mitsuo anything about their past, so when Mitsuo sees Linda's train ticket is the same as Bonri's hometown, he asks one too many questions. The class reunion goes fine, but being back home starts to accelerate some of Bonri's symptoms. He goes to a doctor who puts him on medication and returns to school in mid-September. The gang gets together for dinner and there's a few big reveals. Chinami got a haircut and Mitsuo spills about Linda. He reveals he plans to make a film about the festival club as a ruse to see her. Despite this, Bonri still doesn't come clean and instead just offers to help Mitsuo. Coco gives Bonri a welcome home gift. She made him the Eiffel Tower, and this must be Paris because it's getting real fucking French in here. Before the next festival, Linda and Bonri talk candidly. They help each other resolve their issues. Linda encourages Bonri to be honest with Mitsuo and everyone else, and Bonri helps Linda resolve her feelings for Mitsuo. Chinami catches the two talking and gets mad at them. It's really sad to see Chinami enacting the same vindictive traits that she once chastised Coco for, but that's what happens when you don't resolve your own feelings. At the festival, things are fine until Bonri has an episode in the middle of the dance, brought on by a flashback. He abandons the ranks and he has to be hunted down by Linda. Bonri's prognosis isn't good, and he's running out of medicine. Soon, his memories will fully return, and that threatens to overwrite the memories that he's made over the past year. Things are heating up. Bonri's outburst cost the festival club their deal with other academies and the community, but Linda is determined to repair relations. And Bonri is scared of disappearing again without even letting himself really be known. He's kept so much inside. Coco, in the middle of all this, devises a plan. They'll have a dinner, and they'll invite everyone, and then Bonri will share his whole story with them. Well, Chinami comes over early and starts to talk about some of the feelings that she's kept inside.
I didn't know why I was so hurt that I would go and cut off the hair I had kept long for so many years.
Please, Oka. It will be fine.
This is a big moment. Chinami's hair represented time. Moments. Her whole spirit of cherishing and holding on to parts of time. Chinami tried to act aloof, and cutting her hair was a symbol of that, but it didn't make her better. It just served as a constant reminder of what used to be there. A perfect showcase of Chinami's dedication to the moment is when she requests to be filmed right then and there. She's humiliated, but she wants to remember, maybe so that she doesn't make the same mistake ever again. Bonri has the camera going when he has another episode, and it's intense. Bonri gets a lot of his memory back. Nana and Linda come from next door, but Bonri takes off running, so Linda calls Mitsuo and 2D for backup. Bonri comes clean with Mitsuo and 2D. He's still vague, he doesn't explicitly mention amnesia, but he does say he's scared of disappearing. And then Mitsuo comforts Bonri with the same words that Bonri comforted Linda with.
I promise, I will find you.
You can leave everything to us two. If it comes down to it, we will always find you.
After this, Coco and Bonri meet up, and Coco breaks up with Bonri. Bonri's a mess, so Coco sends her dad to take him home. Bonri tries to figure out what motivated this, and he arrives at two conclusions. First off, Coco discovered the pills he was taking, and then asked her dad what the pills were meant to treat. Second, Chinami reveals to Bonri that Coco saw the footage of the breakdown on the camera. This naturally upsets Bonri, but he talks to Nana. They talk about Coco and Bonri's amnesia, and how Bonri's scared of getting overwritten by all of his past memories. And Nana shows her sweet side. She supports and listens to Bonri. The next morning, the whole gang meets up, and Coco tells them that her and Bonri are broken up. And then Coco goes back to being the same awful person she was when she first showed up. She acts like she doesn't care about university or anyone. She's lost her purpose too many times and been hurt by the people that she loves. over and over. Banri tells Linda about the whole situation, which makes Linda freak out. Banri standing by and letting everything go to shit is everything that Linda hated about the old Banri. Banri can do so much running, but he never uses those legs to chase. But Banri doesn't want to because he feels like he has no future. He feels like this version of himself and everything that it feels is pointless. He'll soon be overwritten, so isn't this love worthless? Well, that's when Mitsuo and Coco show up, and Banri finally comes clean about everything, and I mean everything. Coco tries to quit the club so that Banri can have at least one safe space away from her, which is a shockingly thoughtful act of character. And it kind of goes to show that her regression was all just a cover to mask the pain. Coco and Banri resolve to just be friends until Banri's memory comes back. But Banri promises that if he ever remembers Coco afterwards, they'll be together forever. Banri's mental state is deteriorating. He's starting to space in and out. After another episode and Linda having to rescue him, he calls his mom to come and get him and move back to his hometown the day after the festival. The day of the festival looks to be awful until Mitsuo reveals that he sent the film that he made to the other academies and the community and repairs the club's reputation, restoring a positive mood to the whole day. Look at that. Mitsuo did find him.
If it comes down to it, we will always find you. I was losing sight of you and not watching out. But I was still able to find you.
The dance goes on, and Banri's monologue really encapsulates the message of the show, living in the moment.
This is how time flows for everyone. Right after it's born, every moment becomes the past.
Eventually, every moment dies, so we need to live them while they're still alive. Banri then regains his old memories and loses his current ones.
Please, Tada! Don't go where I can't reach you!
There's a time lapse. Banri's mom and Linda take him back to Shizuoka. He resumes life in his hometown and reverts to his old self. He doesn't remember anything. Until New Year's, when Coco shows up at Banri's house with a DVD as a present. When Banri doesn't remember her, Coco leaves defeated and says she wants to go to the bridge where Banri had his accident. But later in Banri's room, after looking back through everything, he remembers, and for the first time in his life, Banri goes chasing, because Banri finally has someone that he wants to run after. The scene where Banri counts down and then takes off is especially poignant. Banri makes it to the bridge, but he's surrounded in a fog. He starts walking past all the people that he's been, every version of himself.
What's going on here? How come you can see me?
And now I have to talk about something I've been strategically leaving out. Ghost Banri. Ghost Banri has been in pretty much every episode. I've just been doing strategic edits or framing the narrative so that you didn't have to see him. Because I don't like Ghost Banri. I understand what Ghost Banri is supposed to represent. He's supposed to be the personification of Banri's past thoughts and regrets. This whole sequence on the bridge is supposed to be him detangling every version of himself, past, present, and future. I think Ghost Banri represents some important questions, like how do we work through where we've been, and when should we stop loving someone? But this show has shown its chops with emotional complexity before. It could have tackled these issues way better than leaning on some ham-fisted Casper. I don't like Ghost Banri because in a realistic emotional drama, Ghost Banri is a scapegoat. All of Banri's lies and his avoidant personality get excused because he's just literally haunted. Yeah, Banri grew during this series, but he could have grown more if some of his biggest misdoings weren't automatically excused as the actions of a vengeful spirit. Ghost Banri fights real Banri until Ghost Linda sets his spirit free. Banri breaks through the fog and finds Coco on the other end. They kiss, reunite, and promise to be together forever. Another reason you can tell this was written by a woman is because only a woman could accurately portray another woman pouring her heart out to a man and having him reply with, "I know."
I thought you might be able to change painlessly and naturally without me.
I know.
Is that all you ever have to contribute, Van Patten?
And that's how the story wraps up. Coco and Banri spend New Year's together and move on to their next year of university. It's also hinted that Linda and Mitsuo are on good terms again too. The last shot of the series is Coco and Banri holding hands. Sometimes we hit rock bottom before we soar. Golden Time shows us people going through their own rock bottoms during important formative years and shows us how they learn to soar. Is it perfect? Of course not. Nothing is. It struggles in spots with its pacing. You'll either love or hate all the melodrama, and I still maintain that Ghost Banri is a historical blunder. Perhaps the biggest flaw in this anime is the handling of Banri's accident, because the mystery of the person responsible is never solved. Despite this, the show drops multiple sinister red herrings, acting like it's building up to something, but never capitalizing on it. I've seen three main theories. First is Linda, considering she owns a scooter and feels an abnormal amount of guilt. But for me, the jury's still out. However, it is the theory with the most evidence. The second theory is that it was the lover of Linda's brother's fiancé. But the only thing supporting that is literally one frame of him staring out a window menacingly. Beyond that, it makes no sense for him to waste all that time and probably money stalking Banri and Linda when Linda would probably just be his primary target. Which leaves number 3. It was just a random hit and run. And this one is the one I believe the most, unfortunately, not just because I believe that bad shit happens sometimes, but because I know this show doesn't have the balls to do something like make Linda responsible. Something else that I noticed when researching this series is that there's a niche group of people in the fandom who adamantly believe that Banri's accident could have never happened because the motorcyclist would have had plenty of time to stop beforehand. And because I'm an argumentative bitch, I wanted to try this, so I lied. This isn't a review. Welcome to Mythbusters. So first we needed to simulate Banri. Banri has a slim build and is described by the wiki as being around 5'5". So I built this Banri-sized human analog using some creativity and some tubs and paper towels. And I took Banri to the hotbox testing field at an undisclosed location owned by our parent company, Omniship. Omniship, the world is ours. I set it up at a distance that would allow me to gain speed, and then demarcated a point at where I would be allowed to start hitting the brakes. How did I judge the distance? Well, I wanted to be as accurate as possible, so I went on Google Earth and looked at Shizuoka and found a bridge similar to the one Banri was on. Using the distance key in the bottom right, Banri seemed to be about 250 feet or 80 meters onto the bridge. Scooter headlights shine anywhere from 25 to 30 feet or about 8 to 10 meters. So I split the difference and called it at about 27 feet is when Banri would have entered the driver's headlights. To figure out what speeds to test, I looked up top speeds for both electric and gas scooters and created a range based off of that. I did tests on the Banri dummy at 25, 30, and 45 miles an hour. Here's what I found. Yeah, he's dead. Now, our tests may have been impacted by some inclement weather conditions, but I'm sorry, Banri's getting hit no matter what. Even at 25, you can't stop short enough. I don't know what anyone was thinking when they said that Banri's accident was unrealistic, and you guys just want to watch it get hit again. Play the clip. In spite of all of that, I love this show, and if it's taught me anything, it's that you take someone or something as they are, even with its flaws. Golden Time has a lot to give. Its core question of how would you live if you weren't yourself extends to so many facets of life. From Banri's amnesia, to the supporting cast's journey through young adulthood, to Coco discovering herself outside of a partner, the show is a journey through the self, wearing the veil of a youth romance. This anime is great at showing human growth. In the beginning, Banri and Coco are not healthy. Banri is a rebound obsession for Coco, and Banri just keeps everyone at arm's length. There's suffocating behavior, no personal space, and this weird toxic reciprocity where each person does bad shit that they feel that they're entitled to for putting up with one another. But they grow beyond that. Banri learns to face himself and, by extension, the world. Coco becomes her own person and gains a new confidence. The anime even reflects this in its symbolism, which is another fantastic part of the show. It's great at incorporating subtleties, like this shot where it makes Bonri and Linda fade to stars in the night to represent star-crossed lovers. The particular theme between Coco and Bonri that I'm talking about is multiple scenes where they're framed with two trees. This is an age-old symbolism dating back to even ancient Rome, with the story of Baucis and Philemon, an elderly couple who loved each other and were blessed by Zeus by being turned into two trees growing together into the afterlife. It's a beautiful metaphor for love, two trees, sometimes fighting for resources, but eventually their roots grow together, and it makes them stronger, and they become inseparable. They sacrifice things for each other in growth, and their branches cradle one another and reach further than either ever could have on their own. I'm not saying that Golden Time is unique for just showing people changing. Plenty of other anime do this. But Golden Time makes the audience consider their own styles of love, as well as their style of living. How have you been living? It's easy to end up in the monotony, but we need to be conscious of how we're living and what we're doing with our time. We owe it to ourselves and the rest of the world to make beneficial choices and think about our lives at least every now and again. Have you made any recent realizations about your life? Let me know in the comments. For me, something I realized is just how goddamn much Mitsuo has inspired my style in my adult years. I've been copying his outfits the entire video to see if anyone would notice, but I'm so surprised at how 10 years later I've subconsciously recreated so much of his wardrobe. Golden Time is a beautiful, emotional joyride that is undercut by some really unfortunate elements. This is better than a will they, won't they. This is a they do, and then they don't, and then they do again, and it's messy. Because if you do go watch the show after this, you'll have to deal with the non-abridged pacing and being bludgeoned by Ghost Bonri. But if you're able to see it through, you'll get an important message. A message about living in the present. Experience the here and now, because a moment is gone as soon as it comes. But memory is a powerful thing. And now to give it a formal rating. In the last video, someone had a problem with my rating criteria, and I wanted to be mean, but I'm capable of looking at both sides of a situation and taking criticism, because I guess I'm just that nice. So after some revision, here's the new rating system we'll be using on the channel going forward. Shows will receive a rank out of 10, and then get further rated into 3 subcategories. Would recommend, would not recommend, and then a third middle ground category called you might like it. And Golden Time gets a 7 out of 10. You might like it. And I've been the Hotbox. Thank you so much for watching this episode of A Horrible Review. I'm excited to do more of these. Make sure to leave a comment with whatever you want to see me review next. It could be a game, a show, anything. And while you're down there, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Don't forget to keep up with me on my socials and Discord too. Those will be in the pinned comment and the description. And share the video around. Tell your friends. Whenever you're watching this, I hope you have a good rest of your day and an even better tomorrow. And I will see you in the next episode of whatever I make. And until next time, this has been the Hotbox. Bye. Whoops. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2.
Probably not much, given how current methods of content. Oh, fuck me. Current methods of fuck me, yeah, I just put this whole thing right up there.
Personal and romantic, with some
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Ah! Ooh, that's too loud. That's way too loud.
Golden What? The series navigates Bonri's relationships, personal and romantic, with some comic.
Ah! Ah! Ho-ho! There we go. Okay, that's perfect.
Yeah, because every guy wants to be. But the events of this literal hostage situation are. Drink.
This mask is thick, it's hard to breathe. That's how you know it works. 10 years later, I find out it's. Fuck. 10 years later, I fuck. Yeah, cool. When I'm like. In my Mute that, don't tell them my age.
And after a self-destructive rampage, she crashes a. Hey, you wanna fuck? Hey, wanna fuck? But that's when he find picture. What? Damn it. But the point is, healthy conflict. You need to understand that Bonri wants to make some spending cash for the trip and asks the festival club. What? But oh my god, banana. I want dick so bad. Okay, hold on, we gotta turn it down for that. I want dick so bad. Okay, there we go. One more. Hold on, one more. I want dick so bad. It's too loud. God damn it. Why are you doing takes of this? I want dick so bad. Perfect. Perfect. It's fine. It's gonna fucking work. It's gonna have to work. God damn it. That was more. Is just neglect. And if you spend your time. Also, how I've been writing her notes in my name. What? What did you just say? Hello? Adolescence is messy, and this. What the fuck? What? So, what's cool about this is that it spins. Switching to notes. What? The fuck? Okay. This is genuinely one of the best. Oh, my god. What? Going through 18 pages of notes to fucking find this. Ta-da. Okay. Coco was in a rush to grow up, and her Coco gives Bonri a what the what? What the fuck was I writing? Bonri always runs from the past, but when he's facing... What? I'm not gonna put that in. Don't put that in.
Hey, you know what they say? Go f*** yourself.
It's okay. We'll get them all replaced right away. Please don't worry, Bonri.
For a second, I thought I got left out on purpose.
Don't be silly. Just how stupid are you, Bonri? On your own?